It is now in order to consider Amendment Number 5, printed in House Report 114-112. For what purpose does the gentleman from Alabama seek recognition?
I have an amendment at the desk.
Clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 5, printed in House Report number 114-112, offered by Mr. Brooks of Alabama.
Pursuant to House Resolution 260, the gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Brooks, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Alabama.
Mr. Chairman, I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from Texas, Chairman Thornberry of the House Armed Services Committee.
The gentleman from Texas is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I rise in support of the Brooks Amendment. I opposed the Gallego Amendment when it was considered in committee, and I remain opposed to bringing the sensitive issue of immigration into the Defense Authorization Bill. There are members on both sides of the aisle with a variety of positions when it comes to immigration, but a Defense Authorization Act is not the appropriate time or place to have this debate. Remember, the Gallego language does not change any law. It is a sense of Congress. The Secretary should review existing authorities. So a sensitive debate where there can be no result that changes anything only distracts from the essential provisions in this bill that do matter to our troops and our nation's security. I notice that the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee has said publicly we're not going to do anything on immigration in the NDAA. That's my view as well. And therefore, Mr. Chairman, I support the Brooks Amendment to remove this provision now so that we can better focus on the things that are essential for our troops and our security. I yield back.
And the chair recognizes the gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Brooks.
Mr. Chairman, I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from Virginia, Chairman GOODLATTE of the Judiciary Committee.
The gentleman from Virginia is recognized for 1 minute.
I thank the gentleman for yielding, and I support his amendment. The House should not take action to legitimize the President's unconstitutional overreach regarding immigration, especially that of creating a program to defer removal for an entire class of hundreds of thousands of unlawful aliens. The gentleman's amendment is necessary to preserve the Congress's constitutionally guaranteed plenary power over immigration law and policy. Whether and how to deal with unlawful aliens brought to the U.S. as minors by their parents is a question that we should debate thoroughly. And any legislative efforts regarding these individuals should move through regular order in the House Judiciary Committee, which has jurisdiction over immigration law and policy. Legitimate concerns must be considered when discussing this issue, not the least of which is whether the parents who brought the minor to the U.S. illegally should be able to ultimately benefit from the illegal activity by becoming permanent residents based on the legal status of the minor they brought here illegally in the first place. As the policy currently stands, that will happen if any deferred action for childhood arrivals recipient enlists in the military. I urge my colleagues to support this amendment.
The gentleman from Alabama is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from Texas, Chairman Smith of the Science, Space, and Technology Committee.
The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Smith, is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Chairman, I thank my friend from Alabama for yielding me time, and I support his amendment. The House already has voted against the President's executive amnesty several times. The language this amendment seeks to strike would legitimize the President's unlawful immigration actions, which violate Congress's constitutional authority over immigration policy. Serving in our military forces and defending our country should be a privilege reserved for those who are citizens and legal U.S. residents. I hope my colleagues will support this amendment and tell the President no more unlawful actions on immigration. Mr. Chairman, I'll yield back my time.
The gentleman from Alabama is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Americans in our armed forces are being hammered with layoffs and reductions in force. Representative Gallego's amendment to the NDAA worsens their plight. Over the past 5 years, 92,000 armed forces positions were eliminated. This year, 28,000 military positions will be eliminated. Over the next 4 years, another 38,000 military positions will be cut. Between 2010 and 2019, the armed forces will eliminate a total of 158,000 uniformed personnel positions, thereby costing American citizens and lawful immigrants 158,000 military service opportunities. What is the result? Americans serving around the world today have been handed pink slips while they are risking their lives for America. That's outrageous. For emphasis, there is no military recruitment and retention deficit that justifies supplanting Americans and lawful immigrants with illegal aliens. In 2014, every branch of the military, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, met their recruiting and retention requirements while turning away thousands of highly qualified Americans and lawful immigrants. Each year, there are a limited number of enlistment opportunities. Each time Gallego's amendment helps an illegal alien enlist, an American or lawful immigrant loses an enlistment opportunity. The ratio is 1 to 1, period. That is the math. This Congress should support and represent Americans by voting to stop military service opportunities from being taken from struggling American families in order to give them to illegal aliens. As such, I urge this House to support my amendment to strike the Gallego Amendment from the National Defense Authorization Act. Mr. Speaker, thank you for considering my thoughts and request. I yield back.
The gentleman from Alabama yields back his time. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Alabama. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. Gentleman from Washington.
On that, I ask for a recorded vote.
Pursuant to Clause 6 of Rule 18, further proceedings on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Alabama will be postponed.